Welcome to another episode of Stack and Scale. I am Brandon Redlinger, and today I'm sitting down with Gray Mitchell, the founder of Igris, which is an AI implementation agency that builds practical AI systems for businesses. And he's just one of those, real young tech geniuses that from the first moment you talk to him, this guy is smart. And I initially came across him on Dan Sanchez's show and then reached out, and him and I have been chatting ever since. And of course, Dan Sanchez was the very first guest on this show, Stack and Scale. And now, for full transparency here, this is a bit of a technical episode and only for probably about a third of this audience here. So if this is your first time building a personal agent or your first time in N8N, I would not recommend starting with this video. There's a lot of other great resources out there to get you up and running and teach you the basics of those workflows and everything you need to know about N8N workflows before you dive into something like this. Now, if this is for you and you are on the more advanced side, here's what we're covering today. So we actually walk through building a personal agent, and we go through everything from deploying LightRAG on Railway and setting up environmental variables, generating a domain, and mounting storage. And this is just another one of those awesome systems that has implications that reach far beyond just marketing. And of course, there's a lot of great applications for marketing as well, but it does a lot more than just help you with marketing. And one other thing to note about this episode, we did actually run into a bug halfway through and tried to work through it, and then I ran out of time. I had to jump. So we stopped recording the episode and then figured out it was actually not a bug on our end. It was nothing that we were doing. So a few actually weeks went by before we could find more time to jump back on. But we came back on and finished the entire build. So that's why it might seem like it's broken up into two different separate videos, and we actually make it pretty apparent where we jump back in, but it is a little bit on the longer side because of that and because of the advanced nature of this. Anyway, that was a long intro. So without further ado, let's just jump into the conversation with Gray Mitchell. Gray, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up? How are you, Brandon?
I'm good, dude. I'm super excited to chat today because I know you've got something built for us that it might be a little bit more complex than we've done before, but you're going to walk us through every piece of the process, and hopefully our audience will be able to walk away with something that's actually usable for them. So actually, tell them what we're going to build today.
Yeah, we're going to be building. So mostly what we do is AI systems, but today we have something that's agentic, which is rare because I'm normally not a fan of agentics, but this is pretty cool. It's kind of like your own personal assistant that has context for everything you do inside your business. And so we're going to go over a high level, and then I'll send you guys template files for each thing. So there's things like these limitless pendants where you can upload all your data there and actually have usable information from everything happening on a daily basis in your life. So all your meetings, all your notes, everything in your CRM or your database or your note-taking app can all be relevant in this really cool graph kind of model that I'm going to show you. And then all of this is accessible with tools, and you can always add more tools. So currently this is configured with email and calendar and web search. But obviously, you can add your CRM, you can add Notion, you can add whatever tools you guys use. And it's a pretty powerful model. So anyway, that's what we're
yeah, this is, I've never seen anything like this before. So I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah, if you see all those tutorials on YouTube that say build this in an agent that does everything, this is obviously those never work. But this is kind of the closest thing you can have to a general use agent that I found is consistent enough. Typically, the more simple you go, the better it actually works. So do you want to go ahead and jump in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. I'll share my screen and let's dive into this. All right, cool. So you can see my screen.
I see. Yes, I just see a landscape.
All right, let's go. That's good.
Right, sweet.
So I'm going to pull this in. All right, this is an overview of the agent that we're going to be building today. So it's just a personal assistant, and you can see I called it Gray Eye. because the pun on my name.
Yep. I love
So
it.
this is
I love
this
it.
is designed for me. I primarily use this agent, and I've just been testing it, so I'm just now getting into actually using it. But I've been using this agent for just basic tasks like sending emails and communication between clients and understanding information, mainly context. And the really cool thing that gives this agent a lot of power and use case is this context bubble right here.
Mm.
Um, and this context bubble lets us, and I'm not going to open it because it actually has my credentials, but we're going to go through a build of how to actually use this. And so I could test this out and show you, and I'll show you the graph that we're going to be building. And along with that, I'll give you guys some ingestion pipelines so you guys can upload your own data. If you guys want to use the limitless thing that I just showed you, or, your own meeting notes from Google Drive, whatever you're actually using, you could pipe all your data in to actually get really, 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 really solid information. It's kind of like RAG on steroids.
Nice.
So it just actually works, and it actually pulls the right information because it uses an LLM to search it. So if I were to ask, um, who is Gray Mitchell, then it's going to run, and I'll show you the configuration I have for these tools. And it's going to pull this. All right. Well, I just exposed my key, so I'm going to have to go back in and change all my variables.
We
But
can always put a
blur it out.
bar over that so no one can
Okay.
see it.
Cool. So who's Gray Mitchell? Gray Mitchell is 18-year-old technopreneur based near Nashville, Tennessee, leads multiple ventures in AI and technology. He's the founder of iGris. He helps good companies multiply their positive impact. This is so detailed. This is stuff I actually have said in meetings before.
Mm.
And this knowledge base is actually pretty simple. And I'll demonstrate this. I'll show you the knowledge base. It's pretty sick. This knowledge base I know it looks complex, but this is actually with very limited information. This is maybe 20 meetings uploaded that I have. And so these
Oh,
are actual
geez.
meetings that I have within my agency. And
So this is
here,
LightRAG. This is your RAG database, and it's called
yes,
LightRAG is the tool.
it's called LightRAG, and it's
Okay.
open source, and you can self-host it super easily. And I'll walk you guys through
Mm.
how you can actually do that. So here we have like my node, right? Comprehensive overview. Gray Mitchell is an 18-year-old technopreneur. Like it pulled this from this information, so we can retrieve any kind of information. So I can say, what are Gray Mitchell's skills in SEO? Because a lot of the meetings I had recently were about SEO, so it's able to pull the actual context I've had for SEO. So
So for marketing teams, would they be able to say like, ask it, hey, what was this meeting about? Or what are the next action items for XYZ product launch or something like that?
right. So the cool thing is that you can take all of your documents and you can upload them into this graph, and you can actually have real time data. So let's say you have a, let's just say you have a marketing agency, right? You could have all your client meetings in here, and you could wear this pendant, or you could have all your meetings on Google. And you could have all the conversations and interactions you have with your clients. You could upload your Slack, your SOPs, everything that you do within an agency. You could push this all in here. And so from there, you can have whatever kind of agents or whatever you want. And you could actually pull that contextual information and have high quality responses as opposed to traditional RAG. So let's say I had like a meeting with one of my clients earlier this week, and this happens all the time. I actually use this. This happens all the time where I forget what I was like, oh, shoot, I sent him I asked for his number, or, and that's really helpful for the limitless pendant that I use. So sometimes I'll be like, hey, what was it, this guy's contact information? And it'll pull that because it remembers the key parts, and it's uploading every, 10 minutes to this knowledge graph. And this is the cool thing is you'll see how crazy these things actually get, and we can walk through the build on these things, and I'm not going to go in there for obviously safety reasons to expose different clients that I have in there, but we can start with like some sample data or something and push into this knowledge graph, and I can actually show you some real practical use cases that I think you'd be cool. But
Heck
anyways,
yeah.
so like let's say if you had an agency, and let's say I had a meeting with you this week, Brandon, and we were talking about, okay, we want to do these Facebook ad campaigns. Here's our ROAS. Here's our click-through rate. It would actually remember those details, assuming you pipe the data correctly, and
Mm.
you'll be able to retrieve that. And so then the cool thing is you might say, well, let's assume that the data, it might get outdated, because I mean, if the data is just stuck in there forever. But the cool thing is that it actually updates in real time. So it would have a context for when it uploaded that. And then you could, let's say a week, 2 weeks later, you came back with that same client and you did the same thing. It would pull all that and it would actually merge the data together and go, oh, well, 2 weeks ago we had XYZ ROI. And now we have, a 7x ROI. So stuff like that is really, really powerful. And we're actually using this system and for a lot of the things we're building now. And we're building special, operations systems for some of my clients where they actually are able to tap into this knowledge base. So a lot of potential there. So do
Nice.
you want to go ahead and run through, and I'll run through the steps of this agent?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Cool. So let's go through step by step, and I'm just going to run through these really quickly. The basic nodes, obviously, to build a kind of agent. And then from there, your audience can just take the template, because I don't think we're going to have to go through these, but for very long.
Yeah.
So obviously you have your Telegram trigger, you have your switch. All this is doing is it's taking the Telegram data and saying, hey, is this an audio file, an image, or a text? So this should all be pre-configured for you guys. There shouldn't be anything you'd have to do. And then this is just merging the basically the message or whatever's happening back to one field, so that the AI, so that the LLM is actually able to pull one central message, as opposed to trying to know which one of these. That's just the way I did it. You don't necessarily have to do it that way, but that's just going through the tech jargon really quick. We're using OpenRouter just because that's what we use as an agency. And so we have our OpenRouter model. I like Claude. That's one of my favorite ones, but I really bounce. I'm not model loyal, and I really bounce around models really quick. So you're obviously trying to play the game between cost and performance here. I found 3.5 Haku is enough to get to confidently handle the data and the tools, and not hallucinate or cause errors. But there are some better models out there, and even the GPT OSS 20B, the new open source one, is pretty solid too. You just have to make sure you're using a big enough model for the task at hand. Obviously, I'm using smaller models in some of these, or different models in some of these agents, if I just need basic tasks done. So I might use a cheaper model, for my calendar agent. Let's see what we have. Okay, well, yeah, I'm actually using Inception Mercury, which is another model. But
I
we'll get to
haven't
that.
even heard of that one.
It's on OpenRouter. That's what I'm saying. You create your OpenRouter credential.
Oh, I see. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so it's literally super simple. You just go to OpenRouter AI, create, and you just load up funds in your account, and then you just create your credential, and you can select whatever model you have. And you can see here that I have a ton of options for models. So I have any model that I want, from the big providers, I have right here. So I like to switch a lot between Anthropic, Google, some open source models, and XAI. Those are kind of the big ones we're using currently in the agency. So yeah, but I found that this is a good kind of bang for your buck model. You're going to get it's going to sound intelligent and not sound stupid, and be able to handle a decent amount of data. But it's also not as expensive as Sonnet, because the thing is, once you start running lots of different requests, and it's, doing 10 requests to get through some of these, whenever you send it one message, the cost actually adds up. It could be close to 8 or 10 cents per message. And so you can imagine, you're sending like 50 messages a day. It can add up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So the goal is obviously just do cost per performance. For this is really cool. I'm going to show you guys, why are we using ZEP as opposed to traditional memory, right? So whenever you come in here, you have all your memory options. Oh, and it looks like they removed this. Of course they did. Yeah, I heard that they were going to remove this. Well, this might not be too useful, but I'm sure if you guys have some technical chops, you can figure it out. So I'll just briefly explain why we're doing this. And I heard that they were going to move it because it says this ZEP integration is deprecated and will be removed in a future version, which kind of stinks, because what we're trying to do, and I'll explain the concept of individual graph memory. So it's sort of like this knowledge base, right? This is called graph memory. The chart I just showed you is not traditional. Traditional RAG works in, you send a query, and then you pull a list of ranked documents. So it ranks the documents in terms of relevancy based on the embedding. All that to say, you pull a giant list and it's in order. And so it kind of looks down and just has raw chunks of data that it's able to look at, and it just goes down the list of relevancy, which is helpful for pulling the right information, because it's like, oh, we have 1, 2, 3. One's probably going to be the most relevant, but let's look at the others. So let's the AI agent function like that. But it doesn't deliver the exact context it needs. But a graph model is obviously, you have all your data, you have relationships. It's actually built on traditional RAG too.
Mm.
So you have nodes, you have relationships, you have data, and it's all spread off across this graph. And so it actually uses a binding LLM. So it uses a model. It doesn't just use an embedding model to actually pull that data like traditional RAG. It uses what's called a binding model. So it has an additional model, like an LLM attached to it, which I'll walk through as well, which is why it's important to have OpenRouter. Um, and it actually pulls the right information. It pulls all that information that you would want, and actually turns that into the response, which is what makes it so powerful. Is that it has all those relationships, and it actually gets the whole picture of what you're trying to understand, as opposed to just giving you raw data.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the power. So that's what both of these do. This one's just one that's set up to chunk lots of data and to have a big singular graph. So it's not set up for multiple graphs. One server equals one graph. So if you deploy one of these, you have one knowledge graph. You don't have a bunch. Zep, however, and I know that they're moving away from this, which is the disappointing thing, which is very useful because I guess it's just not as profitable for them.
Oh, sure. Okay.
I
They want you
but
to use their simple memory, or
They don't want you to use their simple memory. That's why they just removed it, I guess. Well, they're steering away and towards graph models, because these things are big for companies. That's what companies want. But this is also massive. So there's another company called Mem0, which I actually was working on. I'm working on building our own servers. So I don't like to. You can still use their cloud platform for Zep. So if you guys want to build this, it's basically each user has their own little graph. So imagine it's agentic memory. So it saves the normal logs, as in, if you were to load in simple memory or any other kind of database memory, it would just save logs of the conversation of what's happening. So Zep does that, but it also does the same kind of graph model, where it creates a different graph chart, and we can actually go in and we can check that out real quick. And I'll show you what I mean. And then if you guys wanted to add those credentials, it looks like, unfortunately, you won't be able to, because it removed them. Oh yeah, here we go. This is going to be cool. So this is an example of the graph we're currently looking at right now. Oh no, this is the example one. Here, well, let's pull me in here. So you can actually have your individual users. I'm looking. There we go. View graph. Yeah, there we go. That's
okay.
cool. So this is like the same concept, but every single user has their own little graph. And so it actually uses that for memory. So the cool thing about this is it lets you have what's called stateful memory. So basically the agent retains and understands who you are based on the conversations you have. So like an example of how we're currently using this is we have all of we're working on implementing a system across our clients that have one centralized graph system, and then can be hit across channels. So we have systems on the marketing side, on the sales side, customer experience, and operations, and like backend client portal stuff. And so we have those relationships, but there's not like a centralized way to retain information around somebody. But using a centralized model like Zep, which is super easy to set up, you just literally go and create a cloud account and paste your credentials in it, and if you can find a version that's working now, I guess. So you're able to take that, and it will automatically do everything for you, and you have all your individual every message that's sent back and forth, every interaction you have with your customer that uses this model will retain its information. So it'll remember who I am, and for the sake of my personal agent, if I mention any of these things that I start to talk to it about, so if I mention any of these names, it's going to know who these people are based on
Nice.
the conversations that I had. So it doesn't just retain like the last 10 memories like normal agents do.
Sure. Yeah.
It doesn't just retain the conversation, it retains who you are, which is really cool. So it's like the same kind of concept, but for individual user memory. So you can imagine what the implications are for that.
Yeah.
But let's actually dive into the tools, and then I'll show you the individual use case for and I'll show you actually how to set up the graph model, because I
Cool.
guess this will probably be less relevant for your users given that it's difficult to install now. I was
Yeah.
gonna show you the basic install, but that sucks that it got rid of it just now. So anyway, let's go through this. So if I were to run a request and say, I don't think I have anything actually booked on my calendar the rest of the day. I think it's just blocked off. So we'll see. Do I have anything booked on my calendar the rest of the day?
All right, we see it working.
Cool. So it's cranking and it's going back to the model, and let's see what we get.
Oh, there we go.
So I have our podcast right here,
Yep.
right? And then I have later, it looks like I have a sales generators meeting, which I probably won't go to. But if I want to ask, hey, what's on my schedule? And I'm thinking, I know what I'm gonna ask if I can go on a trip. What's on my schedule? Hey, let's do this. Let's ask, hey, what's my availability this week? Let's see. I think it's set up to handle that. And see, it's all going to be tracking that in the user memory, which is really cool.
Yep.
So it's checking my memory. It's taking a while because it's getting all my events for all the week.
Mm.
Or the model's being slow. Oh my gosh. Well, there's something up there. It looks like it just bugged out. So it's calling it again. It might just be this model right here. Yeah, so this is the side they don't show you where you get a little bit of errors.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So if this doesn't work, that's going to be annoying. Oh, here we go. I think we should have it. Let's see if it returned data. Okay, cool. So it's just models being weird. It's part of using a not as popular model, the Inception Mercury. It's way faster than normal models. You know, it's like double the speed of normal models, but it's the downside is sometimes smaller models do weird things like that. So anyways, okay, well, it has some of my events this week. I have a meeting with client, another meeting with my team, coffee meeting, and more meetings. So it's just showing me like my availability. So you can obviously optimize that to be more specific. So if I want to say, hey, what's on my calendar for Thursday? And I'm leaving for Greensboro Thursday, right? So tell me I'm leaving for Greensboro Thursday.
There you go.
So that's really cool too. And then what's your email again? I'll send you an email.
Oh yeah, sweet. Yeah, Brandon dot Redlinger, Redlinger. Brandon dot Redlinger.
Oh, Brennan dot
Redlinger.
Oh, I forgot that's your last name.
Yeah, at Gmail. Yeah,
at gmail.com. Send him an email thanking Brandon for inviting me on his show. So we can go ahead and do that, see if it sends. We're actually using a sub agent with, because it's going to pull context. That's interesting.
Okay, so
I don't
know
why it's pulling the web.
Going to the web agent.
I'm curious. It might be doing that for. Oh, it might be researching to write you an article, which would be really free thinking of it. That would be really cool.
Yeah, well, let's see what I end up getting back.
I found. Oh no, that's not it. No, no. Wait. Oh, is it chilipepper.com? Chili Piper? Is that you?
Well, no, I don't. I haven't.
You have a different email. How did it find your other email? No, just send to the email I requested. So that's the downside. I'm still testing this out. The final version should work out bugs like this, but that's kind of annoying. That's just the downside of using agentics, and why most of what we do is building AI systems, not agentics, is because agentics can be really the more functionality you give it, if I were to just give it the email agent, it would do really well. It would do the same thing every time. But the
Mm.
more tools you start to give it, the more it just goes, okay, okay, let's see what you get. Well, it at least somehow it found you, which is really interesting. It searched you and found you, which
Yeah, I
is
wonder where I got that. Yeah, because I haven't worked at Chili Pepper in almost a year now.
well, it searched you with the web agent. So this is using Perplexity Sonar, right, which is an online model. And so this is set up so it can make a search, and you could give it any tools you want, like a SERPing request. But I just have a basic agent, and I basically just tell it, "Hey, you're a web agent. You can retrieve information." Um, and so it just uses the Perplexity model, so it'll query that and then just pull whatever response it gets. So it's kind of acting like a summarization for the sub agent, and then
Yep.
the sub agent, right, which summarizes it, passes it back to the agent. So I'm sure it just found your email, but that's
Yeah,
also not what it
I,
asked you to
I
do.
got the email that says, "Thank you for inviting me to be a guest on the Stack and Scale show. I truly appreciate the opportunity to share insights and discuss our work. Best regards, Gray."
Let's go, man. That's awesome.
There you go.
If only it worked the first time, but that's
Yeah,
still
I know, right?
super cool. So you can see the usage for each of the agents. It use this to research. Can use this to pull kind of any information on the internet. And if it doesn't, currently uses Perplexity, but you can actually associate tools if you need something specific, like a typical SERP or Wikipedia or
Mm,
whatever kind of searches you would need. Okay, cool. Do you want to jump into the actual context? So,
let's do
um,
it.
yeah, cool. And then hopefully you guys will just have to make sure you test, and you can tighten. So the way Agentics works, you have on the more the automated end, which is more of what we do, is building AI systems. So it's not really models. It's not really these sorts of things. It's more, you have an entire predictive model system, and you're running everything through 50 agents to produce this very tiny, this very specific outcome,
Right.
based on, you give an agent two tools and you say, hey, use these tools. So I might have, crazy workflow, I might have, 50 of these agents, and let's say a few of them have this context thing right here, and I'd hook up, there'd be an agent over here and an agent over here, and then I'd actually hook it up to the context and say, hey, pull this information to retrieve XYZ variable. That would be
Mm,
more of systematic. But what we're doing right now is we're giving AI more freedom, which comes with a lot of which comes with risk, but it's also
sure.
really cool. Um, and so the problem is that AI models, they're not at the point yet where, and this is why MCP may help, but we're not at the point yet where models can confidently do the same thing without a lot of prompting. So I did not give this. You can see here, my prompt is very short.
Mm,
I built this agent really quickly, but the more prompting you get, so if you say, "Hey, do this," so you guys might have to, and this is why it's difficult for me to just take the template and paste it over. So I try to make it as simple as possible, so you guys
yeah.
had a framework to build off of, because it might start doing things and you say, "Oh, I don't like it doing that," but it only does it for your specific use case. So you might have to
Yes.
prompt
Exactly.
the sub agent to say, "Hey, only check to make sure you have the email from the delegator before you actually send the email." So all that stuff can be adjusted with prompting.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think that's another point too. That's a good point. Is like you have to know how to speak to it. It's like if you're pulling a report in HubSpot and you just say, "Hey, tell me all the deals," or whatever. You have to actually know how
mhm.
HubSpot listens for it. So you have to say all the deals associated with the contact this way, So just knowing a little bit about how these models actually interpret data will help you actually write a better prompt so that you can get exactly what you need in your response.
Exactly. That's something that's really important. So there's kind of this mix between, how good are the AI models, prompt engineering. So basically, what are the parameters we give the AI, the LLM, right? And that's a big one. That's just so, I mean, it's such a, it could be anything. It's just so out there and abstract. And then you have context engineering, which is basically saying, okay, imagine prompt engineering is like the right criteria to make decisions. Imagine context engineering is like providing the right information to the AI model. So the formula, and this is what we use, even building AI systems, not these kind of things, but building actual systems, it's the same structure as if we were going to build this. It's just, we have more reins on what the model's actually going to do. And it's going to happen in this very clear, cohesive process. But even with a autonomous agent, it works sort of like this. You have the model, you have the predictive model, and you say, here are the parameters that you have. So it's just the criteria, and that's what we call the criteria in which the model is going to make a decision. So you give it the constraints, you give it the criteria to make a decision, you give it the right data, and then the rest is just and then the rest is all the, black hole of all the model and however that works, right? So you have the predictive model, you have the criteria in which you want the model to make decisions, and then you have the context of the data providing it accurate data so that it makes the right decisions.
Yep.
And so that's kind of what we've done at a very templatized framework here, that you can actually go in and make probably a lot better just by doing some prompt engineering. Because with this knowledge graph, your context engineering, your data that you're providing should be accurate, assuming you chunk it the right way, which I'll give you the workflows so that you will be able to do that. But
Perfect. Yeah.
but the other part that you guys will probably have to tackle, and Brandon, if you want this as well, and just like running through and say, hey, like I want to set this up, is just going through and saying, okay, for my personal, Brandon delegator, not Gray AI, what are the things that he would need to be aware of? What are the constraints? And then you start, playing with the models, and you might get a different response. And so you just have to go in and make sure that it actually, looks right. So it doesn't send the email to the wrong person. So you might have to tell the Gray AI delegator, hey, you have to call the right tools in the right order, and so that's like an example of something you'd have to prompt it. But all this is super easy, and you can just get GPT or Claude to walk you through, or just, go in here and edit the prompt directly. So it's not hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So that should be a good start. And then we can, and then I will show you guys now I'm just realizing I'm saying guys, but I'm talking to you. It's funny.
Talking to
Okay.
everyone out there.
I'm talking to whoever's listening.
Exactly.
Now, Brendan, I'll go ahead and run through how to set up the knowledge graph. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sure.
And then we should be good, I think. Then I think your audience will have everything they need to know to actually build this.
Sweet.
Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is you're going to need this GitHub repository. I'll also link it. I'll probably create like a Google Doc, in the next coming days. And then, you can, and then I'll just, all the free value that I can give. And then I'll have the templates and like just like a walkthrough, for the basics. And then, so you'll need this GitHub repository. It's, just look up LightRAG GitHub repo. This is the one that you should be on. You're going to want to copy that link. It's super easy. Literally just copy the link. And you're going to come into a new project in Railway. I'm obviously not showing because I have all my credentials. So, and all my clients on here, but, you'll have to create an account, and then you'll just go in here to new project. And then you're just going to hit, continue with GitHub, and you're going to deploy this repo right here. So paste that link in, deploy the repo. And there's only a few things you actually have to do. This is a relatively simple deployment for a system. And then another time, if you want me to come in and show like really cool stuff, like how you can actually build relevant marketing systems, or different systems based on
Totally.
I would totally come back, and I could show you how, once I figure out whether we're basically just deciding whether we want to use ZEP or MEM0 for the client base. And then once I have like a solid system working, I'll come in and show you guys, and show you, Brandon, how we actually are using user graph memory in order to retain, essentially to have a knowledge base on every single person, and actually have direct information that we can reference through anything we're building, or by any kind of agent, so that you can go in and talk to this agent and ask about any one of your customers, which I think would probably be really big for your guys' team. Okay, so it's just deploying right now. So what we're going to set up is we need variables. So I'm going to grab those variables off screen, and then I'll jump in there and I'll paste the variables you'll need.
Sweet.
So yeah, this part will probably have to get cut out because this might take me a minute.
Yeah.
um, well, anyways, how are you? Am I doing good so far? Do you anything I should change, or you a fan so far?
Yeah, no, this is great. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, my guess is like hopefully they've already set up Railway. They know how to they've already connected their calendar and their email, that sort of thing, right?
Are they? Is your audience at that level?
Some of them are, some of them aren't. I think some people come just to look at like, give me the cool new prompt that I can spit out a image that I can use in my ads, like easy shit like that. But there are plenty that are, okay, how do we actually go in, build all this stuff? Pretty technical, more on like the ops side.
Yeah. I'm gonna Here's what I'm gonna take. I'm just right now getting fresh keys that I'm gonna delete later, because to expose fake API keys.
Sure, yeah.
Um, so we'll do this as test delete after.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Now okay. What crashed? We're all good. It's gonna. Okay. Okay. Embedding API key. Then we'll need another one from OpenRouter. Okay, we should be good. And then the settings should be configured for your users
Okay,
pretty
cool.
simply. Will you go ahead and actually, never mind. I think I can do it really quickly.
Okay.
I just have to go in and actually, I should have done this beforehand, but just create keys for like a mock up server. But I was working on making sure everything was functioning correctly before I jumped on.
Yeah.
Test delete after. Okay. I should be almost ready. I'm just getting this API key. I'm dropping it in, and then generating a fake API key, and then I'll have like an EMV template.
Sweet.
Okay. All right. Cool. So and this is the last variable right here. Promise I'm almost done. I'm gonna go to ChatGPT, generate a random string. Cool. All right.
Sweet.
Should be good. I'm not gonna update those variables. Okay. I copied them. Okay, good. So we should be good. Cool. So the next steps and we're back, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the next steps is we're going to go in here, and I'm gonna actually in this doc I'm gonna provide the variables that you have to enter in your env, but you're just gonna paste these, and obviously gonna delete these later. But I created fake credentials so that we can jump in. You're gonna need 2 accounts. You're gonna need an OpenRouter account to actually use the embedding model if you want to not pay a lot of money to make it run. Because we're going to be using open source 120B. I found that this gets you really accurate answers, but while retaining quality and high speed and price. So it's kind of the best overall model that I found is using OpenAI GPT OSS 20B. And then if you want, you can actually limit your models. And I would use Cerebras as to limit your models to only run with that one, because that's the fastest provider. It outputs like 3,000 tokens a second. It's crazy.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so anyways, we're just going to copy that env in there and, enter in your own variables.
Yep.
So just in raw editor, and then we're going to deploy that. And this might also crash again because we haven't mounted a disk yet, which I need to find what the current disk is. Disk. Okay, it's app/data. So then we would just need to update the disk, and it deployed. But the problem is we don't have memory, which is super
Mm.
easy. We're just gonna create. We're gonna hit volume. We're gonna add LightRAG, and then you have to mount the volume. So you're mounting the disk to where it's going in the app. So it's just /apps/data. And then if it doesn't work, hit another / on the end. That should work. So then we're mounting the volume. It's going to redeploy this again. It's going to launch the app, and it's going to deploy that with. So I believe it crashed because it doesn't have that. And all right, it should function now. So we have our auth accounts. We have our embedding, our host. These dimensions, don't mess with the dimensions unless you want to get technical with it. And got our model. Okay, cool. So then we should be good. This should deploy here in a second. And then once it deploys, okay, good. So we are good. You're gonna have to deploy. Oh, problem processing request. I think it's good. I think this is. So we need to generate a domain. Just keep 880. So the source repo is not working. I believe it's working. I think it's just behind. Cool. Let's try this link. Let's see if it works. I wonder why it's not working. We might have to run it again. Oh, this isn't supposed to happen. So this is a downside of doing a live build, is because things don't go to plan
Yeah. Well,
ever.
look, I think that's kind of the key to all of this is just being able to like troubleshoot and figure it out on the go. Like honestly, I've never watched a video of a build and then been able to deploy it exactly the first time in the 10 minutes that they promise. A lot of it is this very thing. It's like, all right, this isn't working. Let me click over here. Let me troubleshoot this. Let me figure out why this is happening. So, if anyone, I'm sure we'll get there in like months or so, but being able to just have a build, copy and paste, and then actually use it. But like that's just not the case for any of these things, right?
Yeah, the cool thing about this one is it should be pretty basic. It should be follow the instructions and you get it. But the
Yeah.
thing is they update these apps, and what I'll do, I'm going to go in and see what I did for my other deployments, because I've deployed, this has been one of the easier deployments I've had. Oh, we don't, is app data. Yep. So, and we could see what's actually, so 880. Huh. It's just there's something weird going on with the repository. So they might have made it might actually not be something on our end. I don't
Uh,
know. I don't know why. Connect repo and then we're gonna redeploy it right here. It might just be you have to LightRAG. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, we can try this. Hmm. This is the weird bit, right? This is
Yeah.
why I don't know what it's working. And it's like I've had success with this every time I've deployed it. So
It's always when you're live.
it's always when you're live for sure. Is it? It wouldn't be Docker because that's a GitHub. Um. Oh wait, hold on. That was definitely not right. We just wanted to try port 8000, and then let's see. Huh. Source image. All repositories. This has me so perplexed. I am so, that is so weird. Okay, what we're gonna do, we're gonna deploy. All right, we're gonna try to figure this out quickly. If
Okay.
we can't figure it out quickly, which I was just because I think we'll be able to do this rather easily. And if not, then I will have to either give you guys a video later explaining what was the issue, or we'll run through it. It might just, yeah, it might just be being weird, which if that's the case, then that's cool.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna unmount this. I'm gonna delete this one right here. And then we're gonna apply those changes. App data, deploy, and so it looks like it looks like this isn't on our end.
Ah.
Maybe. This might be, this is, wait, 880. We're going to generate that and let's just see. Let's just refresh this. Let's just see what it's building now. It might just be that we didn't have, this is a terrible name. I think it might be that we didn't have what we needed this before we could deploy it. So we just had to deploy it. We just had to generate a domain very quickly. And then if it works, then that's cool. And if it doesn't, then I literally have no idea because I've probably installed 10 of these by now for my clients. So, all right, let's see if it builds. If it does, great. Let's see. Please don't crash on us. That's red. Huh.
Gosh.
Weird. Brutal. I'm not sure. Gray and Brandon. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean this is clearly root directory. It might be that we need a root directory. So I'm gonna go into my others. Source repo.
And we might have to do a
Oh,
part
you
two
know what
because I got to run in 5. I got a meeting.
Okay. Well, it seems like we're gonna have to do that.
Okay, I might have to do that anyway, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a part two to jump on. Well, I would like to, not leave it here because if so, then all you're gonna have is the first part of the video. But I'd like to cut through this part where it's like we're struggling and just get straight to the problem, and so that they can we have all the right steps for them.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can edit it into a single video too.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, cool.
yeah. That's what I mean. Like, how about we schedule a time where I figure out this issue and then, oh, it's working. Wait, no, it's not working. Uh, I think this is a different database. Oh, you know what it is? Hold on. Here, all right. Oh, in our 5 minutes, we're gonna. I think in our 5 minutes we figured out what the issue is.
Okay.
I was an idiot and pulled the. I pulled the wrong. I pulled a branch.
Oh.
If I send the right link, it'll work. I believe. Build. LightRAG. I think it. This is funny. I think I may have done a big oops. And if I've done a big oops, I'm sorry. Which is funny. Which is hilarious. This just makes the show authentic, though. So
I know, right?
this isn't the one you see on YouTube where it goes perfect.
Yeah.
Delete service. Deploy. All right. This should work.
All right, fingers crossed. Let's see.
Fingers crossed. It's erroring, but I think it's a different one. If not, 880, generate the domain, LightRAG, change that. This is the one right here. We're gonna if we can. I may not, that may not be right though. This may actually be an issue with them. That's what I'm trying to
Okay.
figure out right now. Which if so is annoying.
Yeah, I know, right?
Huh. Anyways, well, it seems like we're gonna have to jump to another meeting. I'll have to figure it out. We'll have to jump on for like 20 more minutes and then figure it out.
All right, and we're back to finish up this build. Sorry for the audience for I ran out of time. I had to run, and also we ran into that slight little hiccup. But good news is we got it all figured out. We're ready to finish this thing up. So great. I'll let you take it away and maybe explain a little bit what happened there, and more importantly, yeah, it wasn't us, it was them.
Yeah. So the thing is, I've done this so many times, and the one time we jump on here was the one time that they actually changed the code files, so that whenever I tried to run it, there was just all kinds of errors because they changed some configuration in there. So what I had to do was spend like an hour going back, and I just had to change the branch. So there's a note: whenever you're setting this up for yourself, I changed the branch and basically went back and found the one that worked, and then deployed that as my own. So I'll send the link, and you actually, I don't know if the new one works. It's been like a few weeks.
Yeah.
I think so. It's been a few weeks, and so I don't know if the new one works anymore. I've just been using my own one because I have to reliably set this up for clients. So
we'll link the new one up.
We'll link the new one. It's really just the old one, and so it'll be hopefully a working. This one will be a working version if you're using Railway, but the other one the new one might not be the working version. Man, it would just be so funny if this one also somehow broke because of some random reason. Okay, well, cool. This one should 99% chance. Fingers crossed. It's worked every time. I've set up like 10 of them since we had our conversation. So, man, that would be terrible odds. That would look so bad on me. Okay, cool. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll figure out that last setup.
Heck yeah, let's do it.
And then you guys can start adding documents. You'll see how easy it is, and then connect that in. And with the JSON files that I provide of the actual, with the JSON files I provide of the template of the personal agent that you can use, all you have to do is like swap out the link. And it's very easy to upload documents. You can manually do it, so you don't have to work with the API. All the API is already set up, but you can just see there's a simple section, and I'll explain what I mean, but there's just a simple section where you can adjust what settings you want. But a lot of all the settings for uploading everything should all be set up. So all you have to do is fill in your own variables. So, all right, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So first thing you're going to want to do is just come in here and you're going to get your GitHub repo. And it's one of these, right? LightRAG template. So I'll paste the link here, but it's just this one that says LightRAG, Igress Gray, LightRAG template. You're just going to deploy this, and then this is going to fail. Well, it actually might succeed, but you're just going to need to fill in your variables here. So in your variables, you're going to have a series of, and these are, don't even try these keys because it's not going to work once it's done, but all these should remain this. So I'll show you which one should remain this same. The auth accounts is your username. So username and then the colon and then your password. So the second one is your password, right? So this is just a temporary one, but you just want to put what your username and your password is for logging in. You want to, just leave embedding batch. All these settings are good. OpenAI, you don't actually want to mess that, even if you're using OpenAI or not. I would recommend either using OpenAI or OpenRouter. So your embedding binding key, which you can just get by going to platform.openai.com. You just go and get your OpenAI key, and it'll automatically know what you're doing and what you're talking about, and it'll just use that one. So assuming we just use text embedding small, so you won't have to edit this. If you have an OpenAI console account, you can just go to get your API key, plug that in here. For the embedding host, leave it the same thing. The only thing you'd want to change is depending on the model you want to use. So you need to generate a random key here. So I bold this because you want to generate a random number here as well. So you're going to just go, whatever, generate me a random string. You're going to put in random number. This is going to be a random string of numbers and stuff. And this is just going to be your API key. So if you want to actually use the API, which you're going to need to, you're going to need to authorize the API and then connect that to, which is it's very simple. It sounds complicated. It's very simple. All you have to do is literally enter this string in. And inside, once you get in there, you're going to enter that string in, you're going to hit authorize, and you're going to go to NAN, and in the template I send you, you're just going to literally paste that variable in. And then your LLM binding key is, I'm using OpenRouter, but you can use OpenAI, which would be the easiest one. And so if you're using OpenRouter, you just want to put your OpenRouter key and whatever your model is. So I have a preset, right? But you can just use whatever model. So you literally go to OpenRouter. So if we wanted, and you can use OpenAI and just use GPT-5 or whatever. But you would just go find any one of these models, and you can use any of them. I like OSS 120B. That's the one I'm using, but you would literally just click on any of these that you want, copy it, paste it in, and paste. Don't paste you don't need up to the slash. You just need the model right here. So,
got it. Okay.
So you can go paste any model you want in here, or you can just run back and go back to the same place that you got your API key and use that same key from your OpenAI and just get any of the OpenAI models, and you can look up the SKUs for whatever the codes are for the models. And that's literally all you need to do. And change either change your host. If this is OpenAI, you literally just change this to say OpenAI. You would just make it this base URL right here. If you want to use OpenRouter, just leave it the same. So hopefully that all made sense. And then all you're going to do is, and this is all set up already, so all you're going to do is take this, and once you have all that, you're going to want to copy that. And so I'll leave this template in here. But you're just going to copy that once you have all your values filled in, and you're going to go back to your Railway setup, and then you're going to come in here. So it's going to crash likely, or it's going to succeed and not do anything. So you're just going to click on it. You want to go to variables. You're going to hit raw editor right here. So you can add all of them. And this is going to be, it's going to say ENV, which stands for environmental variables. So all you're going to do is take those variables, paste them in here exactly like it is. Make sure the spaces are good. And you're just going to hit update variables. After you've done that, before you hit deploy, and you can do this at any point, but you just need to do this. You're going to change this to Railway Stable. And that's the branch that you get from why you use my repo, because the newest one, it can be hit or miss whether it works or not. So, but this branch will work. So this is a branch I just forked out of it and basically left it stationary so it doesn't automatically update. So you just have, whenever you load this in here, it's just going to work instead of maybe pulling the new code files, which don't work. And then here you're going to need to scroll down, and you're going to want to find, if I can find it, generate networking. So you're going to hit generate domain. This is going to be important. So just generate domain. 880 is great. You're going to want that. And you're just going to hit generate domain. And there's one last thing you have to do. So hopefully this all making sense so far. Just follow the instructions. You're
Yeah.
going to want to attach a volume to it. So this is actually going to be where it saves the data. So you're going to take volume, you're going to attach it to a LightRAG template. It's going to be /app/data/ you can put a slash, I just leave it without. If it doesn't work, just put an extra slash there again. But it should be as simple as that. And then this is just going to deploy. And then at any point, you can it's going to be deploy the new one. It might take a few minutes, and then whenever that's done, which it shouldn't take very long, it's building the new one, and you're just going to be able to reload this, and it should work. And so you're going to be able to log in and actually start the process once this says it's done. So you may have to refresh it. We'll see how long this takes. Sometimes it takes longer than others. It might take a minute or two.
You never know.
So is this making sense to you?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm following.
Okay, cool. It should be as simple as copy paste. I'll make it as simple as copy paste. So
yeah, I love that template that you have. That it's just like, okay, and you walk through each of the pieces. That okay, go here for this, put this here, put your key here, put your username here. So yeah, that makes everything 10 times easier.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, for whatever end build you use, you can just use that tool, attach it to whatever agent, and say, call XYZ tool to retrieve this information. And it just functions the exact same as RAG. The system obviously doesn't, but it's as simple as RAG. You would just have a query for what you're querying the database, but instead of that, you're actually querying LightRAG, which provides them whatever set results you have. And I'll show you. You can actually go in there and change it, and you can play within the results within the platform. So you can actually go in here and play with the results and see what kind of responses you get when you ask certain questions, and adjust your settings, and then copy those in and just change those within your actual API request, which is super cool. So if you want to have more broad answers, if you want more context, less context, if you want to just get a very specific point, what is this? If you want multiple paragraphs, bullet points, you can change all that stuff. So that just helps feed different context to the AI. And so you can just use that to pull super accurate information. And then you can get creative with it. You can, like I do with the Limitless, and with uploading all your meetings and uploading your whole, Notion stack, whatever. You can upload all your data in there and basically build like a 3D model essentially of all your information of your whole company, which is super cool. So
okay, talk to me about, I guess, two things, cost-wise for this, because I know sometimes like you can put these awesome things together, but then it'll cost you, 10, 20 cents per query that you run, and you could easily add those up really quick. So what is the cost structure of this?
Yes. So, okay, let me just show login. Those this login information at the top that you have that you need to set up here. Once you set that, you're just going to use that username and password, and I think it was stack, and boom, we're in. Easy as that. And so now you're within the platform, and you can start messing around with it. So the cost structure, it can be as expensive or as cheap as you want. And the good news is it's relatively pretty cheap. Most of these tools, it's like as much as you want to add in or throw in, obviously that's more expensive. Limitless is like $400 a year. So it's more expensive to throw in those things. But in terms of actually just running and building a knowledge base, it's super low cost. So I'm sure you have all your abilities to pipe data in to this system it's literally free. You literally just pull the documents and upload it here. It's that easy if you want to do it manually. But if you actually want to build a system, it's pretty easy to pipe data in. The most expensive thing is going to be the things you probably already use. So like obviously, text embedding, the embedding model that I have preset that you don't have to touch, it's super cheap. So as you go, and you might spend, literally cents, like pennies for the entire month of pulling those embeddings. It will be so ridiculous. You'll probably spend like 2 cents, no joke.
Sweet.
And then for the actual cost of the thing that gets more expensive, and when we run this at scale, it actually gets quite expensive for a team like me that actually does this full time and runs like a lot of compute through these models. If you use Open Router, and that's part of the reason you might self-host a model if you're more advanced, but if it's just for general scale, if you use something like Open Router where you can set any model, You can even adjust, like we have a very high throughput OSS 120B, and that's also pennies too. So
Mm.
if you use one of those, it's relatively cheap to run those
Yeah, you
systems.
can make sure it stays cheap.
You can make sure it stays cheap. Now, obviously with scale and like a lot of stuff we're doing, it gets, way more expensive.
It
But
can add up,
for
but
but for your own usage, I've tested a lot of these different models, and the preset configurations that are in there, you just need to change your model. I'll change it to OSS 120B. So and then you guys can literally just go to OpenRouter, load $10 on the account, and you should be set for like a
there you
year.
go. Nice.
It'll use, 1/10 of a cent per query
Yeah.
generally. So it's relatively cheap. Now, like a lot of our querying, it's a couple cents, but that's because we're trying to retrieve large information, very accurate, high expensive models. But that's because the use case is much higher than just your own personal use case. So it really can vary. But this entire system should. No, the most expensive thing is going to be Railway, a few dollars a month. This entire system should let you, with self-hosted end-to-end, which is a template, self-hosted Railway, also pretty templated, and just a little bit of filling in some different keys and filling in the blanks, you should be able to run this entire thing for like $10 a month, $20 a month, super cheap. So the most expensive thing is going to be the tools you use in addition to it, the things you want
Yeah,
to plug
yeah,
into
there
it.
you go.
And so obviously that's at small scale. Now if you want to have a nice model, if you're talking to this thing 100 times a day, it's going to add up more if you're, but if you just need to query some information, it's pretty cheap.
Sweet.
Like obviously if you want to use Claude Sonnet 4, like I think I don't remember if I have mine set on that. I might have mine set on that, you know, and then it's going to be more expensive. It's going to be like, a cent per query. So I might use a couple dollars a day because I'm, querying it a lot every day with long prompts. So
Yeah,
that would be that. But it's pretty easy to run. I mean, you just have your Telegram chat. Everything's mostly free. The most expensive thing is Railway, just hosting it all, which is awesome.
pretty cheap. Yeah.
So once you're in here,
Yep.
so you have 4 different sections. You have your documents, your knowledge graph, your retrieval, and your API. And let me show you. First, let me show you how to authorize your API, which is super simple. You're just going to want to come over to API, authorize, and then this one, not this one that says OAuth, this one that says API key header. All you're going to do, come back here, grab your API key that you entered in your env. So if you lost this, just go back to your env. So your variables within Railway, and you're just going to drop this in here, authorize, and you're good. You're done. That's all you have to do to use the API. And now any of these you can do. And now this may look complicated, right? Because you go into it and it's a little bit daunting, but it's super easy because I already have the query one set. So I have the one call that you need. If you're going to upload all your information manually, you have the one call you need and you can just pull that information. And it's literally as easy. And let me show you what I mean. I'll show you a different instance that I'm actually using personally, right? To put my information in there. Let me find it. It might take me a second to get there.
Yeah, we can just cut out any
I'm just going
details
back
again.
to my personal one. Okay, I'll show one because I don't know if I won't. It's very easy to explain how to upload documents. Like I don't even need to walk people through it, but I just
Yeah.
am going to go to my own instance. Cool. Okay, are we here?
Yes.
Great. So this is an example of an actually built out database. Um, this is the thing I think I started out by showing you.
Yeah.
We have different people in here. And so like you have all your different entities and your data. And so it can retrieve it, and I think I went through this right at the very
Yep.
start of the video. Okay, so whenever you upload, this is actually what it looks like when you have documents uploaded. And so I'll switch back to the other one. So I uploaded a few meetings in here. And this may be a test one. Yeah, this is okay. This is perfect. So you can literally just go in here, and all you have to do is drop your documents. It'll take like PDFs, and the best thing I do is just go to document. I just go to Google Docs, export it as a TXT. You literally hit download TXT. It'll be literally a text file. TXT is text, right?
Yeah.
So you can import any of that stuff, and then you could just literally drop the files in there. It'll process. It'll bring up like this pipeline status, and it'll just start running. And it'll take a few minutes, and you'll then see it in your in your knowledge graph. And then you can retrieve anything you want. So that's the high level, and all it's again same thing. This is an empty one, but all you do is go in here and drop it in,
And upload,
and
drop it.
and then it's as simple as going into NAN, and I won't pull it up because I have my own personal, API key in here.
Yeah.
But it's as simple as literally going in here and dropping the API key in here where it says API key. So that key that we were talking about earlier, once you authorize it, drop the same key in here. It'll just run, and then you can adjust your settings in here too. And you'll see what I mean. So in like the JSON, it'll literally say like global, it'll say global, what do you want? Global, local, native. And in here, you can literally just go and you can adjust all these settings. It's all the same settings as right here. Just leave these the same unless you need more max relational tokens for bigger, basically if you need more information on bigger graphs, you can do that. But it's literally as simple as just saying, do you want these three? Do you want any of these? And then which kind of search do you want? Global is a good search. Global's it gives you the most accurate. Hybrid's like hybrid RAG, right? Because it still uses traditional RAG. And then you can do even local searches, right? So just plain RAG searches. So whatever you need. But global is generally going to give you the best ease of use overview. That's why you use LightRAG as opposed to just using a typical like Pinecone or Supabase. So anyway, that's it. That's it right there. That's the whole thing.
There
So
you
yeah.
go. Love it. Yeah, and we'll link everything up, everything that everyone needs to get going with this. And for those less technical, they need a little bit of help. I mean, of course, I don't know your capacity, Gray, to take on new clients right now, but where can someone get in touch with you?
Well, number one, they could go to the website, igris.com, igris.com. Number two, you can reach out to me. It's just gray@igris.com. It's my name. Number three, connect with me on LinkedIn. I've become more active on LinkedIn recently. So
yeah.
maybe I'll be posting some cool stuff. I don't know yet.
There you go. There you go.
But I'll give you my contact and then people can reach out to me however is convenient to them.
Perfect.
So
and then you want to do a quick lightning round?
Lightning round. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. What is your current AI tech stack for marketing specifically?
For marketing specifically, NAN, SEMrush, a bunch of SEO tools, a bunch of ad spy platforms, AdFlex, Meta Ads, all the main systems. But I'm currently using a few. I'm using Manus for a lot of research for it.
Okay.
And in terms of my AI tools specifically, really NAN, OpenRouter, it's pretty much just my AI stack. I build everything custom mostly to actually just research and through API. But in terms of good tools I've seen, there's Journalist AI. It'll automatically push articles for you. Not the same scale as like what I do with SEO, but it was a good way we started. There's like Rankability. That's also a good one.
Wait, what is that one?
Rankability.
Rankability. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I haven't heard
All
of
good SEO tools. And you can do the same thing. There's like Creatify. There's other ones for producing ad content too with AI. So
nice. There you go. Sweet. Where do you go to keep up with the latest in AI?
I'm in a Substack that somebody gifted me. That's this really brilliant guy. I don't remember his name. I can find it right now, actually. Nate.
Sweet.
It's Nate's newsletter.
Is that Nate Herc or?
Maybe. I don't know. He's I don't remember what his last name is. No, Nate B. Jones.
Okay.
He's an AI wizard. So he's very conceptual. So he helps you to understand, what's happening in the AI world. There's some good podcasts. And my good friend, obviously, Dan Sanchez, AI-driven marketer, who you found me through.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah.
Sweet. What's your biggest challenge right now with AI?
It gets expensive at scale.
There you go.
And context engineering, coding. Right now, I'm coding everything with not everything, but a lot of my systems. And I understand, I have a lot of different systems in my tech stack that allow me to push things to different various functions and build systems at scale. And so a lot of how I'll do that is I'll code it within Claude Code, Cursor, and a number of other MCP tools combined. And then I'll actually push that to deployment out wherever I'm, working on it. So
there you go. Sweet. Well, that was actually a good lightning round. Usually I always have so much to add to lightning rounds that they don't end up being that.
They don't end up being lightning rounds.
I'm trying to get better at it, like not jumping in there and
and just saying, well, what's what about that?
Exactly. Right. I'm trying to get better. Well, awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, dude. Really appreciate having you on.
Yeah,
And
let's do it.
Yeah, again, if
We'll have
anyone
to do
wants
it
to
again.
connect out there, LinkedIn, or you have his email now.
You have my email. Don't spam me out my email. I have a cold email blocking system. So if you
Yeah, he's
sound at
got a
all,
whole
if you
system set
sound
up. Yeah.
1% salesy, you're just getting thrown a cold email. So just
There you go.
don't ask like off the bat email. Don't ask like bookings or meetings. Just be like, hey, Greg, what's up? I saw your podcast. And ask any questions you have, because I've gotten ruthless with it because I get
I
so many
love it,
cold
dude.
emails. I'll have to show that system sometime. I think I gave that to you, right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
You
I
did.
did. Share that with your audience if you want.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
so
link that
good.
one up too. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
throw the loom in there. Yeah, that's so good. That's so good to block. Yeah, it's so easy to block emails. Maybe we'll do an episode or something. Throw that
Yeah,
in.
yeah, and yeah, great. I've been talking. We'll do a few more episodes, or we've got an idea for how to actually bring Gong data in and query Gong data, and send anything from like pre-notes to your AEs to recaps and all of that stuff. So a lot of interesting things that we have coming up that we'll eventually do some shows around too. So
Yeah, it sounds exciting. I'm excited to build it.
heck yeah! All right, thanks again, dude.
Yeah. All right. Talk to you soon.